Hi, this is Mani from BSc to NSE.com. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Thursday intraday option selling strategy that can be done on Nifty and Bank Nifty. And this is a video I've already done before, maybe a year back, with the very basic concept that you will try and sell out of the money call option and put option on both the sides, or with varying quantity based on the intraday breakout and so. So it was a very core basic idea, and all my ideas and videos are supposed to be sparks or a basic idea based on which the traders will try and test it out, see what works for them, and evolve and keep adding variations to it. So I'm just making a few updates here, just sharing some of the things that I've done in the last 1 year, some of the things that I check before I take the trade. So more like updates on what I check, and this set of thing can change if the market dynamics change. These set of things that I follow may also keep changing with time, and I may probably not follow certain things or follow something new, or that keeps changing from time to time. So as of now, I'm just sharing an update video, and again, it's nothing strict that you should follow only this. You can if it doesn't work for you, you need not follow also. So just pointers as to things that may help. See if this helps you. Try and test it in paper trading, and if it does help, then I'm pretty happy. So let me just go ahead and share a few things, and most of these things I've probably shared in separate individual videos, like the Monday first 15-minute range and the Thursday morning breakout, square levels in Bank Nifty. So all of these I'm just putting together into this strategy. So let me get to it. The first point is that even though I'm going to trade only on Thursdays, the Monday first 15-minute range plays a very important role, because that particular range eventually, when the index breaks out either on the upside or downside, tends to act as very important level to decide whether the index is becoming bullish or bearish for the week. So this is a range that I collect and I write it down, and many of these levels I write it down on a diary on a Thursday. And though I'm going to trade only on Thursday, I'll be watching the markets on Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Not much, just very little time I spend to watch, but I still watch the markets. So Monday first 15-minute range I noted down. So for example, I'm going to show you the Nifty and Bank Nifty charts for this week. Okay, so you can see that at the bottom, this is Zerodha charts. You can see here at the bottom that the dates is 14 here. So this is a Friday, 17 is a Monday. So this vertical line, this first candle, this is a 15-minute chart. So I'm going to push this thing a little higher here. And this candle here is the Monday first 15-minute range. So you can see the value at the top here. The Monday first 15-minute range high is 11,844 and low is 11,765. So I just noted down in a diary, but for this video's sake, I'm just noting it down in a notepad. So Nifty, the lower range and upper range is 11,765 and 844. This is on Monday. Okay. And similarly for Bank Nifty, I'm going to again check, again select the 15-minute chart. And this is the Monday candle, the first candle. Since being a 15-minute chart, each candle is 15 minutes. So you can see that the low value is 3466 at the top. You can see while I'm selecting the candle, high is 3673. So again, I note this down. Okay. And in this particular week's case, what happened is Monday morning, Nifty and Bank Nifty both eventually broke below the 15-minute range, the first 15-minute range, taking a bearish start to the week. And Tuesday, again, markets consolidated and stayed below the 15-minute range. Wednesday, again, it opened above in the neutral zone, but then eventually again, to end the markets, it ended on a lower level. So that was the case in this week. So I note both these levels down, and then I also note the weekly highs and lows, meaning when I'm going to enter the trade on Thursday, the first 3 days in the week, Monday to Wednesday, you can see the weekly highs and lows for Nifty and Bank Nifty both. So again, whether you trade Nifty or Bank Nifty may change. That is also another variation that you can have based on which one you prefer. So if you see in case of Nifty here, the weekly high is the Monday morning high by Thursday, so which is 844, and the lowest point is on Wednesday, which is 11,625. So which is almost a 200 point range between Monday to Wednesday. And then similarly for Bank Nifty, it's almost a 400 point range or a 500 point range, close to 3227 and 697. Okay, so if I select the Bank Nifty chart, you can see that the low is made actually on a Tuesday. Wednesday it doesn't break the low, it almost comes close to the low point, but doesn't break it. So I again note these two values, and then I note down the Thursday morning first 15-minute range, because that is the day that you trade. So the first 15-minute range on Thursday morning. So for that I can go to the 5-minute chart. So today is a Friday when I'm making this video. So this was yesterday's range. So the first 15-minute, the high point, eventually market broke up before 10 o'clock, taking a bullish stand for the week. The day on Thursday. So eventually it breaks above the first 15-minute range. So this is Nifty, and I'll show you Bank Nifty again, 5-minute chart. So you can see again Bank Nifty also initially it dropped for the first 3 candles until 9:30, but post 9:30 it didn't break further down. Eventually it broke the upper range around 10 o'clock, just after 10 o'clock, Bank Nifty. And throughout the day it stayed above. Eventually throughout the day it was bullish and kept going up. So I again note down the Thursday morning range, morning first 15-minute range, and whether there is a breakout before 10 o'clock. If there is a breakout before 10 o'clock, it means that it is a pretty strong breakout, and you can expect the trend to continue mostly until noon session. And then post noon, I note down the 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock range. So on the chart again, I'll be seeing between, you can see at the bottom 11 o'clock here and 1 o'clock here. So in this time frame, what was the lowest range, lowest candle low point? In this case 3427 for Bank Nifty, and the high point till 1 o'clock here, you can see that it's 3316. So you can see here, while I select the 1250 candle, which is the highest point between 11 and 1 o'clock, 3616 on the left hand top corner, and eventually around 2 o'clock it breaks up. It doesn't break down below the 11 o'clock low range and eventually breaks up. So morning also was a positive breakout, post noon also was a positive breakout. The same was the case for Nifty also. For Nifty also, the low point between 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock was 11,710, 710, and the high point was somewhere between 1245. The high point was 11,760. Again, it didn't break below. The post noon session was again a positive breakout, and it kept going higher. And the day kind of didn't cross the weekly high, which was 11,844. It eventually ended close to that value around 320, 330 sort of time. So the reason why I note down the weekly highs and lows is that you can try and sell beyond those ranges. So on that day, probably because it was a positive breakout, and you could have started by selling 11,600 PE, or to be safer 11,550, 500 PE to start with, and then slowly inch up as there was bullish signs for the day. And you can see that the weekly high was 11,844. So it was actually prudent to start by selling 11,850 CE, or safer to be 11,900 CE. And similarly on Bank Nifty, to have sold a strike price above 3,700, so which would be 3,800, 3,900. And the other levels again that I note down are the Bank Nifty square levels. So again, like I said, all these I write down on a diary, and watching these levels is will help you decide, how much quantity should you sell more on the put option or should you sell more on the call option, and on that day whether markets are bearish or bullish. So noting these levels down and checking the breakouts on these levels will help you a lot to decide which OTM price to sell. And again, Bank Nifty square levels. So you can use a calculator. So for example, Bank Nifty after 9:30, you can see that Bank Nifty was close to 3400 on that day. So if it is 3400 after 9:30, so you just go to the calculator, find the square root. Sorry, this is not it. So if it is 3400, find the square root in a calculator, you get 174.35. So you try and find 173 square, which is 29,929, and the next square 174 square 3276, and you write these down on a diary. And then the next square 175 3625, and then the next one 176 3976. So write down 4 square levels, 2 below and 2 above. And if the markets are on a positive breakout, you probably want to sell beyond the first square and probably close to the second square. If it is a positive breakout, then you can sell a little aggressive on the put side, still below. You should never get inside a square level while markets are, let's say markets are trading at 3400. Selling 3300 PE is very risky because it is inside the square level of 3076 and 3625. On an ideal day, that if markets by 9:30 and if there is no breakout by 10 o'clock, and if the market levels is somewhere inside this, most likely these levels will not get breached. So selling outside these square levels is reasonably safe. And you also have to look at the weekly highs and lows. That will also give you the indication of volatility for the week. You can see that the weekly high was 3700, low was 3200. So any strike outside of this range is normally safe. And you also have to check volatility and if there's any events on that day, if there's any external event happening. So those kind of things can help you decide what to do. And so like I said, note down the square values and then the volatility. Check the volatility. If it's extremely high, then you should anticipate that higher range is expected. And the 7th point is a general point that I generally say to traders, that be ready to evolve, have a lot of variations, and don't be rigid on the strategy. So some things you should be very rigid, like having a stop loss in place, and because an intraday spike can take out can give you unlimited losses in option selling. So always have a stop loss in place and always try and defend your positions. So if you sell both the sides, call option and put option, and if one side the premium is more than doubling, meaning you sold at a premium of 4 or 5 and then the premium is crossing 8 or 10 one side, then it means that overall you're beginning to bleed. At that time, you can try and play defense by buying at the money call option or put option, depending on which side it bleeds, and try and make use of the breakout to make a little bit more money in the at the money buying call option. And you should know how much you should invest also. So if you're collecting premium for 10 lots in out of the money, probably you can invest 1 lot or 2 lot in at the money buying, so that you're not investing too much because the at the money contract can also begin to bleed. So you should have variations as to how you will defend in case things still go wrong, out of hand. You know that yes, you have stop loss, so still you would like to reduce the loss a bit, so you can push the put option if the call option is bleeding, and you can also buy call option, at the money call option, to play defense. So these kind of defense plays are there. And if you're a beginner, again, I would stress that you constantly try to paper trade a lot and stay at very minimal lots and keep practicing. It takes a few years to mature as a trader. And the last point is you check other levels in the chart, like basic support and resistance that you can find. Again, you can write those down. Those can be helpful as to when you want to try and play defense, or if Nifty stays within a particular between two levels, you know for sure that out of the money is going to erode in value, and you need not you can just sit and watch the markets. Nothing needs to be done. You need not be too rash into doing it. And again, I think you take into account the other points that I've said in the other videos as well. These are not the only things that you can I mean, you can try and come up with your own points, things that really help you with the trading. And a lot of this you will eventually figure out as you write down and maintain a diary, as to you figure out, sometimes you're not listening to yourself. So writing down the levels where you should take certain actions will help you a lot, bring in a lot of discipline. So practice and practice and keep practicing, and try and keep evolving, especially when it comes to taking a loss. Try and see how and all you can reduce the loss. There are various options to reduce the loss, so try and work on that. And as always, you post comments on the video and I'll get back to you. And thank you for watching this video. That's it. Bye bye.